Good evening, everyone. Once again, very welcome. My name is Yogesh, and I will conduct this webinar for today, which is on investing in the fight against cybercrime or investing into cybersecurity stocks. Before I start this session, please, if you can send me, you can use your chat options and write over there. If you can hear me properly, if you can see my presentation, just write a yes or a okay. So it is easier for me to understand that you can hear me. If you can hear me properly, if you can see my presentation, please send me a yes or a okay. And then I'll start the rest of my presentation. And uh, if anyone misses a segment or has to leave urgently, don't worry about it. We are going to put a recording of this session on our YouTube channel, and you can always revisit. But the advantage of doing this live over here is I'm sure a lot of you will have a lot of questions about different market scenarios also. So we are trying to answer all of that. Uh, Now, very quick, let's try to first take a brief recap of how the markets are doing overall, because I'm sure all of you can hear a lot of noise behind me, because today is the day when a lot of stocks have come down, and especially related to tech sector. And we have seen companies like Tesla, Coinbase. Today, if you see, Bitcoin has fallen down below 30,000. It has gone down to 29, and it has again moved up to 35 or 34. A lot of cryptocurrencies have shown decline, and this has been going on from last 2 to 3 days. But today, there is a lot of decline which has happened. Now, there are a lot of reasons. Again, cryptocurrencies have come down after Elon Musk talked about that how Bitcoin could not be a very sustainable form of means. And the mining of Bitcoin is not very sustainable. So Tesla is not going to be accepting any Bitcoins. And then combined with that, there has been a lot of fear about increasing inflation in the economy. And increasing inflation means expectation by the investors from the Federal Reserve uh, is to increase the interest rates. Now, this expectation of higher interest rates can actually bring a lot of technology stocks down, and it has done that. This expectation has kind of spooked investors that the interest rates might go high, and the prices of the technology stocks depend on the future cash flow. So interest rate is a kind of a big thing for tech stocks. So a lot of people have started taking money out of technology companies and have started putting money into value growth, or value companies. Now we have seen this shift happening. We have seen gold prices moving higher. Gold has gone up to $1,885 per ounce. In last 1 week, gold has gone up by at least $50. So while stocks came down, gold prices went up, and once again it proved that gold has still continued to be a safe haven for investors in the time of uncertainty. So this is something, again, it's a small kind of recap. We saw oil prices initially going up in the very first week, because the most important pipeline of US, the Colonel pipeline, that was hacked, and we saw oil prices going higher because the supply was expected to get disrupted due to the hack. And again, once the hack was removed, we saw oil prices settling in. So today's session is all about investing in the cybersecurity stocks. And I'm not doing this session out of the blue. Uh, Cybersecurity is something which has been there for a long period of time. And few things which we have to understand is today, every move we make, it leaves behind a digital trail. I mean, you can think of payment like, for example, sometimes you do a payment on social media, or when you search online, or even if there is a geolocation on your smartphone, you are leaving a digital trail everywhere. There are millions and millions of megabytes of data every single day, and these data can be translated into cyber threats. And at the same time, there is I mean, this has increased the need for companies and organizations around the world, including a lot of governments also, to increase their spending in cybersecurity. So let's try to do a comparison. Like previously, cybersecurity or cybercrime, which used to happen, was only about stealing data. So you will be looking at data stealing, you'll be looking at intellectual property stealing or money stealing, right? Now, if you see, of course, cryptocurrencies is one thing. When you are buying cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin and putting it on your e-wallet, that is one thing which can be stolen. But think about this a little further. Now the cyber threats are much more complicated as it used to be before, because now we are talking about technology, like Internet of Things, 5G, cloud services, and these new technologies which have come across. It has kind of opened new doors to new crimes. Now this may sound very futuristic, but then when you talk about the next generation of crimes, it can involve manipulating traffic light signals also. Worst case scenarios, you might see somebody can hack somebody's cardiac device which is fit in his body or in her body. This is something which is a very enhanced kind of cybercrime, and for this you need a lot of enhanced cybersecurity platforms. So we are seeing a lot of companies. I'm going to discuss about companies and portfolios. We are going to talk about some ETFs also, and some those companies which are into native artificial intelligence based cybersecurity systems, and they just don't react to a cyber attack, but they offer a very proactive approach, and they are learning from these companies. They learn from the cyber attacks and they prevent this in the future. So there's a lot of artificial intelligence involved into these companies, and so this is something which we are going to discuss today. And if you have any questions, please use your chats to write down these questions about anything related to the investments, and I'll try to answer it. Not just cybersecurity, but then this is something which we'll be looking forward to. And please, whatever portfolios or ETFs I'm going to discuss here, or whatever information, please understand that the portfolios, these stocks, these are uh, checked on today's current market level, and then we are discussing about it. There is a complete possibility of the stocks which I'm discussing about today. It may or may not perform in the future because of the market risk. So investments are certainly subjected, they are always subjected to market risk, and you have to be very careful. So don't buy whatever I tell you today, but just keep in mind that these are the companies. And before you take any trades, please talk to your financial consultants. This is really important because every one of you have a different risk appetite. Now let's talk about investing in cybersecurity. As I talked about, uh, the cyber crimes are being enhanced in new forms, and cybersecurity measures or new cyber crimes are leading to new cybersecurity measures, and that's why there are a lot of companies which we are looking forward to. 2021 remains to be a big year for several things, and one of the less talked about things, again, being cybersecurity. A large percentage we saw, and we understood today that there was a pandemic in 2020, and I'm sure everybody agrees with it, that we have seen, uh, especially if you see during the pandemic, we saw a lot of cyber attacks. Like, I mean, if you see it, there were credit card frauds happening. There were a lot of people who had no jobs. They switched into the point. I mean, these are the cyber criminals. They are so desperate during these times. And it was a very big problem. A lot of people face these issues. And what has happened also, because of such intensive attacks during such intensive times, cyber attacks not only they have proved to be extremely costly for companies, but also we have seen that the spending in cybersecurity is kind of justified. Now, if you see, I mean, if we're talking about cybersecurity, the cost is justified, but at the same time, these attacks are also very expensive. So, from a small company to a big company, we are looking forward and we are looking at these kind of cybersecurity measures which are taken around the world. Look at some statistics here, and this is to tell you of lately. I mean, if you see in the news right now, uh, the latest ransomware attack which happened was on the Colonial Pipeline Company, and this company was shut down. The pipeline was shut down for 5,500 mile, and this pushed up the gasoline prices because of the supply disruptions. Now understand, a big hack or a ransomware hack on a company like this, when it happened last week. If you check the news, you will get to know that this happened last week, and it disrupted the supply of gasoline and oil prices because the pipeline was shut down for the 5,500 miles. Too much disturbance at the back. Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Right. Thank you so much for the feedback. I'm just telling people to lower things down. Today is the hottest point of discussion after we have seen cryptos crashing and a lot of people are discussing a lot of things. Let's coming back onto the topic. So we talked about the Colonial Pipeline hack, and we saw that how a hack actually caused a price increase in a commodity like oil, which can have again adverse effects, right? So we have to be very, very careful when we are talking about, when we are looking at the cybersecurity point of a company. Now, this is some statistics which you can see. In 2016, 3 billion Yahoo accounts were hacked in one of the biggest breaches of all time. Uber reported around the same time that hackers stole the information over 57 million riders and drivers. Then, if you see next, Uber tried to pay off the hackers to delete the stolen data. Again, so this was like a ransomware where you have to pay a certain amount of money, a certain amount of ransom to remove the security threat. And then in 2017, we saw around 412 million user accounts which were stolen from Friend Finder's site. In 2017 itself, we saw 150 million consumers which are affected by Equifax breach. Now, this is something, these are just few numbers. I just told you what happened last week about the Colonial Pipeline, but this continues to happen. It's not stopping at the moment. Now, what is expected is, why this stats is important, because when I show you these numbers, this will relate to the point that why you need to invest into the futuristic cyber security companies or cyber security stocks, because this is something which is about to get higher and more. So if you see, by damage, global cybercrime damage by 2021, $16.4 billion per day. That is right, per day. It's not even an exaggerated figure. I'm talking about $684 million per hour, $11 million per minute, which means $200,000 per second. Now, this is the kind of damage which is expected by 2021, because it doesn't stop. Of course, there are a lot of companies working towards it, and we are going to discuss about this. Let's understand what kind of threats we are facing. Because when we understand what are the kind of threats we have, then only we will understand that why there are different companies for these different kinds of threats. Now, something called a ransomware. Now, ransomware is something which anyone who attacks on a company data, they ask for a specific ransom, and unless the ransom is not paid, the disruption in that particular sector remains. So ransomware is something, again, which is a kind of threat. Physical damage, identity theft, cyber espionage, too much spamming on the emails, phishing of the emails, insider threats, cryptojacking, which means if you have put cryptocurrency in your wallet, your cryptos can be hacked, information leakage, botnets, spams, data breach, all these kind of threats, DDoS. Now, DDoS is something what we call as denials. And again, these kind of threats are also very common, and there are different companies to address all these kind of different kinds of attacks. Comes the next point. What was the agenda of today? That how to invest into cybersecurity. Now, a lot of you will normally feel that, okay, investing in cybersecurity, which means just start investing into a lot of antivirus-based companies, right? Because we are talking about cybersecurities. But the fact is, there are a lot of other stocks and there are a lot of other companies which have come up, And these are the companies which are specialized in a certain amount, a certain type of security solutions. And we are going to discuss about these companies. Again, as I said, there are different ways to invest into cybersecurity. So when we are talking about investments in cybersecurity, you can invest in the form of shares, you can invest into companies, and then there is something called a share basket, a basket of companies which is dedicated specifically to only those companies which are providing cybercrime or cybersecurity solutions. And then there are ETFs. ETF is like a exchange, like what we call it as exchange traded fund, a kind of a basket which focuses on a specific class of companies. Like for example, a ETF will not just be like, if I'm talking about a cybersecurity ETF, it may not just take cybersecurity into account, but let's say artificial intelligence companies which are providing technology to the cybersecurities, even that. So the fund is kind of a mixture, a wider mixture of the companies, and we are going to discuss each of these segments in detail. Now, to start with, which are the companies of lately which have been highlighted and could be a good target to invest into? Again, the companies which I am showing it to you, you can note down these names. Always have a notepad with yourself. If you find some information, you can write it down. These kind of companies, what I'm talking about, you can write it down and then talk to your financial experts if it's a good point to enter or not. Don't just buy right away. Please do your due diligence and research. A very pronounced name in the cybersecurity is CrowdStrike Holdings, and CrowdStrike is something, again, it's a cloud native software, and it provides endpoint security. It provides protection for laptops, PCs, servers, any kind of device which is connected to a network. CrowdStrike will provide you endpoint security to it, and it's a completely cloud based platform. So for example, if you are working remotely, and remote working, remote lifestyle is something what we all accepted in last 1 year. So if you're working remotely, you can still avail the services because CrowdStrike provides a cloud based platform. Millions of people are still working from home. They are assessing their company's data applications from outside the office, and there are billions of machines which are connected to the internet, and they're still very vulnerable to the attack. So the software for CrowdStrike, it's very easy to deploy to all these devices, and they use AI features to detect any kind of breach and still hunt down the threats. Their sales have been going up, and if you see the market cap also, CrowdStrike is one of the largest security vendor pure playground. So even if you are looking forward to a mobile world with more and more devices getting hooked up now, if you have a mobile phone, it is connected to your iPad, it is connected to your Mac. So even if the devices get number of devices, they start getting higher, you will still see some companies like CrowdStrike, they come up with the solutions to connect all the devices at once, and again grow at a rapid pace. So this is something which is a bit about the company you can look into. And we can always oh, sorry, there's a question. I need to go for the appointment. Will I get to see this? Of course, the session will be recorded. It will be on YouTube, so you can always revisit it. The only point is, sometimes if you have any specific questions, I'm more than happy to answer. But then you can always watch the recording again. So as I said, CrowdStrike is again one of the largest companies, and I told you the reason why could be a decent idea to get into this. But again, what I told you is a very top of the mind description which I have about CrowdStrike. You can always look more into the financials and talk to your consultants. They can help you out. Now, coming with another company. So as I said, CrowdStrike is one. If you see companies like Zscaler, for example. Now, Zscaler is also one such company which you can look into. And these are, again, CrowdStrike was cloud native. Zscaler is also cloud native, and it's a security vendor also. Zscaler will kind of provide you a very secure access to the internet, a kind of a very secured gateway. That's what Zscaler does, right? There is a concept called SWG, and secure web gateway, as I said. And this particular company, it has been a leader and one of the most strongest secure web gateway providers, and their sales are also increasing very much. It's one of the largest security software company. And as I said, there's a lot of migration which is happening to cloud based operations, and in the future it is only going to go higher. Like if you see last 10 years, the spending on cloud computing like has already increased, and if you see another 10 years, again more than $1 trillion is expected to spend on the cloud computing part. Now companies like Zscaler, they will be benefited at the forefront of this massive opportunity as a leader in this particular area. This particular stock again could remain at a high growth out profit. So this is again which you can look into. Reason I just told you, because Zscaler is one of the most strongest providers of the secured web gateway. Within because of the high investments and spendings on cloud, last 10 years, next 10 years, these kind of companies can get a lot of major benefit. Right. So again, you can also check more details on Zscaler, something what we have found about. Next is Okta, and Okta is something. Again, I'm talking about the first two companies which I talked about. One of them is a cloud native software. Another is also a cloud native security vendor. One is a software. Another is a security vendor. When we talk about Okta, Okta is more about identity management. Now, if we see what Okta will do is, again, in a very increased mobile and cloud-based world, the identity management software which Okta has, they integrate and they are in a very high demand. And if you see is, they tell you how the security should work. Now, it is one of the top growth stocks. It will prevent a lot of identity theft, which is very important. And this is like Okta as a company itself has created a kind of a system which is way better than the traditional security providers. And identity theft is something which is very common. So a company which is an identity management company can be, again, really one of the important areas. Next is Palo Alto. Now, again, we have been looking at these kind of companies. We talked about a lot about cloud movement, right? Now, when we talk about cloud movements, we understand cloud services. We talk about what is happening right now. But imagine what was before cloud. Like if we try to look at predate the cloud, because cloud movement, it started all of a sudden and everybody is now talking about clouds. But what was before the cloud? Palo Alto has been there before this whole cloud movement started. And specialty of this particular company, it is all about firewalls. And firewalls, as we know, firewalls is not a new word for us. This is something which we have known before. And firewalls are designed to monitor and they protect the traffic into like how you protect your office, who's coming in, who's going out. Like that, Palo Alto is a prime company in the firewall security, and firewalls they protect the data which is being sent, data which is being received. Again, you might feel that now everything is on cloud, so why we need those companies which are pre-cloud era? There is a lot of services which still Palo Alto provides, and yes, without a doubt, the real growth is in the cloud realm. So now, if you see what Palo Alto did, it changed with the time because it belonged to an era which was before the cloud. Palo Alto has been a very highly profitable company, and they have used that platform, that profitable platform, to acquire so many small cloud native firms in the last few years. Now their growth percentage is also double digit, which is really good. Is one of the largest cybersecurity pure play operation if you measure revenue wise. and now they are a leading cloud security provider also. Now this is very, very relevant because this is a company which has, again, uh, it is competing with CrowdStrike, Zscaler, and Okta, and it belongs to a pre-cloud era. But they have used their profitable platform to acquire more and more cloud-native companies. So their growth is double-digit percentage. It is something which is really good, and you can again look into this kind of company. I'm just giving you a very brief description, guys, given the time constraints. But then again, whatever information I'm providing it to you, it will help you to at least basically figure out that which company is doing what, and what is the reason of looking into these companies. Similarly, if you see Fortinet, for the reason now, Fortinet, again, a security software provider, one of the largest cybersecurity firms, if you measure in revenue. Just like if you see Palo Alto, the growth is double digit. It is, the momentum is still highly profitable. The only thing is, again, how Palo Alto has continued to acquire small cloud native companies. Fortinet kind of invested in a very organic development of cloud security. So they did not acquire cloud native like Palo Alto did, but they actually kind of took time and invested in the development of the cloud within the company, and they updated their platform. So they did not updated the platform by acquiring other cloud native companies, but they developed the cloud in their own. So that is something, again, one of the top providers of the firewalls also. And if you see, it is the best in its class. Hardware continues to grow as many organizations building out the new data centers. So this is, again, for those investors, if you're looking for a balance of sales and profitability growth, then Fortinet could be one of the best security stocks to pick into, sales wise and profitability growth wise also, right? So these are the few 5 companies which I'm talking about. If you see few more stocks, we are talking about Datadog also. Again, Datadog, Elastic, Dynatrace, there are a lot of such companies which are there. And again, they are still updating themselves to the cloud era. But then again, these are some companies which are expected to grow faster in the same segment. If you see, again, these are all different kinds of companies. I'm talking about Datadog. Look at CACI, because CACI is also, when I was talking about, or when we are reading about CACI has also shown a very, what should I say, something which is a very promising growth. I mean, again, every company has a certain amount of unique expertise, and CACI, if you see, they also provide a very unique expertise, and their technology is very distinctive. If you see enterprise-based challenges, because now they will be providing a lot of services, specifically to a lot of branches of the US federal government. Now look at the company which is providing services to the US federal government. So again, that is one thing. If you talk about homeland security, intelligence, healthcare, defense, this particular company provides that to the US federal government. They were awarded a $447 million contract by the NSA, which is National Security Agency in US. So they are going to provide a lot of process, mission technology in support of these signals intelligence. And again, so this is something which is really important, because if you see their third quarter financials, which was last month, the net income compared to previous year and this year, the net income has increased by 50%. Their revenue has increased almost by 6%, and they have a lot of free cash flow with which they have ended around $108 million. So that is really, really important. And the contract which was awarded in the last quarter was around $1.5 billion. This is almost 60% new business to the company. So again, CACI stock is something which you can always again look into. I gave you a very gist about the company, that how it's going on, what is the profitability. You can always talk to your financial consultants more about it. Guys, keep writing it down, just the name of the company, and you can keep tracking. Take a demo account from me, and you can just keep tracking this particular stock. Again, I'm not talking about today, you buy today and you'll be rich tomorrow. This is not one of those sessions. I'm just talking about a very futuristic point of view, and cybersecurity is something which has not been seen much. But today, some or the other way, we all are facing it, aren't we? We are looking at these kind of, when we are typing the password, we are making sure that we are very careful in ensuring that my debit card or my credit card pin is not visible to everyone. Or if I am putting my details of credit card in a website, I want to make sure that it's safe and secure. So we are investing into cybersecurity, but more mentally. But this is how you can look into these companies and look into it. DocuSign was such company, because DocuSign, if we needed a lot of documentation to be signed by the clients during pandemic, and we couldn't meet them. So DocuSign was one such service which could initiate the contract and send on the email to the client, and they would send it directly, sign directly on the email and click on send, and it would directly come to the respective company. So DocuSign was also something which had made a lot of profits in the past 1 year, and again quarter on quarter. Uh, Cloudflare, Palantir Technologies, Palantir Technology. Let's focus a bit on Palantir now, because the stock prices has come down for Palantir, and I think you can check this. Palantir was used to be at 43, and it came down to 18, and now it's 20. And we'll look at the chart for Palantir also. Uh, Palantir also builds enterprise data platforms, and again, these platforms will be used by the companies, those specifically those companies who have a very sensitive data and very complicated data, and like the services are used widely, which are provided by the Palantir. Let's say, for example, if a company has to build a safer car or a plane, to when I say a safer car, that means, let's say, if you have to protect your car against an explosion, or planes against explosion, to combat terrorism or discovering new drugs, Palantir will help its customers across many sectors, and that's good. That's good, because it's just not one sector. From protecting your assets to developing or discovering new drugs, this particular company provides it all. They have been renewing their contracts with the UK's Royal Navy, and that's good. And Navy will use these softwares again in a very broader spectrum. So that is again a cash flow which is coming in. So in spite of not a very good earnings last quarter when the stock came down, we have now seen Palantir slowly going higher. And this is again, if we are expecting new partnerships, and they're making new and new partnerships, and they're extending their old partnerships also, that's a good thing. So that's why the recent dip in the valuation of Palantir was something which attracted a lot of investors. You can always look into these kind of companies also. Now, these are few stocks. Again, there are a lot of companies, but then I have listed top, 10 companies which you can look into. Now, if you invest into these individual companies, you are still exposed to one kind of risk from the investment's point of view. Because if you buy Datadog separately, CACI separately, Cloudflare, or let's say you pick two of these companies or three of these companies, or 10 of these companies, for example, still you are invested, you have bought all these companies differently. First of all, so you pay more charges to buy it. Now, second way to invest into cybersecurity stocks is through a ETF. ETF is called exchange traded fund, just like a mutual fund, but can be bought and sold on your platforms. You can buy and sell it yourself. You don't need a fund manager to do that, and its value goes up and down during the market hours. There are four basic ETFs which are available. First Trust Nasdaq Cybersecurity Fund, ETFMG Prime Cybersecurity ETF, Global X Cybersecurity ETF, iShares Cybersecurity and Tech ETF. Now, all of these funds, they have different focus. I told you how shares are different, but a fund will focus on different arenas, different areas, right? Now, let me give you one example. Let's take first one. First Trust Nasdaq Cybersecurity ETF. Now, when we talk about this particular ETF, The market cap, if we look at it, it's around $3.5 billion. They have the AUM, if we talk about the assets under management. They have around 40 stocks. Most of those companies are software and networking companies, but the expanded focus, this particular fund is also including those industries which are related to aerospace and defense. Now, this is different, right? I'm talking about cybersecurity, so you have something in mind which is more related to cyber insecurity, right? This is a very basic thing. But now, this particular fund is not only having those software and networking companies, but they are also expanding their focus to include industries which are related to aerospace and defense. So this is kind of going to give you a very different exposure in the same sector. Similarly, if you see the second ETF, which is ETFMG Prime Cybersecurity Fund. Now, this particular fund, if you look at again from AUM point of view, assets under management point of view, around $2 billion worth of assets. They have around 60 stocks. Most of them have equal weightage in the fund. So it is not focused on any one specific company. But again, if you see, this particular ETF is very unique because this is completely focused on the technology sector that gives a small cap tilt. What do I mean when I say a small cap tilt? It means that there are companies in this fund which are related to cybersecurity, but the specific focus also is on a bunch of companies which are small in market value, not very big in market value. Now, what is one good thing about small cap companies or smaller market value companies is someday the companies, they are poised for growth. They start growing. So a smaller company, if works well and acquired by some other company, can become a mid cap or can grow in size over a period of time. So this particular fund is kind of also gives you a small cap tilt if you try to invest into it. So both the funds, if you see, will have a slight difference in their cybersecurity approach. Then comes one of the most talked, Global X Cybersecurity ETF. Global X is the fund management company. Global X Cybersecurity ETF, if we talk about, 600, again, it is talked a lot because when we see they have around 40 stocks, and again, the top 10 holdings which you see makes the 60% of their portfolio. I was talking about Fortinet, right? If you remember Fortinet, which is one of the most unique ones. So Fortinet has around 9% weightage. Palo Alto has around 7% weightage. CrowdStrike has around 7%. So those companies are a part of Global X Security ETF. Last but not the least, iShares Cybersecurity and Tech, around 400 million worth of assets, around 40 companies. Now we are talking about those companies whose 50% of revenue is derived from security related hardware, or basically from the services part. If you see the top 10 sectors of top 10 companies of this fund, they make almost 40 to 50% of the entire fund. And it's very easy to check what are the companies which are into this fund. All you have to do is just write the name and search on Google, and you will see the top 10 holdings and which are the companies which are holding it, right? Now, apart from cybersecurity ETFs, let me take you to the live platform and show you one more way how you can invest into cybersecurity. So we talked about shares, we talked about ETF. Let's talk about share baskets. What is share baskets? Share baskets, let me share my screen with you. I will take you to the live platform also, and before that, let me first show you what the share basket is from the company's websites. First of all, I'm showing you the tech cybersecurity basket. So right here, if you see, look at this. The platform provider, which is CMC Markets, the platform which I'm providing you, have created a security basket that tracks the performance of 34 companies with an exposure to the cybersecurity industry, right? Now, cybersecurity is one of the 16 trending share baskets which we have, and these are the companies which are there. So if you see around 34, 35 companies in this particular basket, uh, just like ETF, baskets have the same concept, but ETF might provide you a different geographical distribution, while the cybersecurity basket, it kind of uh, have all the US based companies, and the weightage is different. But the concept is same, that the companies clubbed together in one basket, and you can buy and sell that particular basket rather than investing into each and every individual share. So if you see these companies like Cisco Systems, A10 Networks, Akamai Tech, Booz Allen, CACI International, Commonwealth System, CrowdStrike. We have discussed about CrowdStrike. We discussed about CACI, right? If you see down, you will see Fortinet right over here. Then you will see Okta right over here. Then Palo Alto. Then there is Proofpoint also, which is one company you can look into. Again, followed by Splunk, and then Zscaler, as we talked about. So there are a lot of such. So this is a basket. Now let me take you to the live platform where I can show you how this basket works. Please keep writing your questions in case if you have any questions. Okay, now I'm taking you to the live basket. All you have to do is go to the share baskets right here from the product library and check cybersecurity basket. Let's try to understand how you can buy, sell a cybersecurity basket here. You click on this. Let's see the trend for cybersecurity as of now and how it has performed. If I see a chart, maximize it. So currently, let's see how it worked out. I'm increasing the size of the text so you can see the date and the price. Now this is 22nd July 2020. Let's talk about March. So I'm not going to tell you that, oh, March the bottom was 2,900 and it went to 5,000, because uh, honestly, no point of calculating returns from the pandemic low, because it was a V-shaped recovery. So it fell down. It was not expected to fall down, but pandemic happened. It came down, but it bounced back. Let's take from the same level, pre-pandemic levels, which was 4,200, and we have seen a growth happening from 4,200 per unit of cybersecurity basket all the way to 5,970, right? So from 4,200 almost going to 6,000. This, if you see, the major growth has come across from November 2020, right here. Again, in the increase of January, we saw it coming down. Now also we have seen cybersecurity coming down because of the higher interest rate expectations. Tech stocks have suffered, so that is a normal sell-off. But again, we are looking, if you see the trend from the beginning, we have seen an increase in the total price of the basket. So cybersecurity basket, if you want to take an exposure, this is a very common question I get, that let's say if I have $20,000, can I invest? So if you have $20,000 and you want to invest into a cybersecurity fund, the total value of this particular basket is 5,500. You write 20,000 on the amount, and total units will be calculated, 3.5 units. Now in my account, I have $100,000. I am buying something worth 20,000. I click on buy. You bought cybersecurity 3.5 units at a price of 55.25. Now that means when I go to my account and my positions, I'll be able to see that I have bought cybersecurity basket 3.5 units worth $20,000. Only 20% margin blocked. So for $20,000, I have just blocked $4,000 worth of my cash, and I can still take trades on margin. And you can buy and sell. You can keep a stop loss and take profit at any point you want to. So it's very easy to place a trade, and it's very easy to take exposure in cybersecurity investments, because this is a very most commonly asked question, right? The ETFs which I was talking about, if you select here cyber, you can check the ETFs which we were talking about. EFTMG Prime Cybersecurity ETF. Look at the ETF. It is at $55 right now, much lower than the share basket. If you see the price in terms of the denomination, look at this. And again, a ETF which we are talking about, Global X, Cybersecurity, First Trust, all these ones which I was talking about. This is, if you see, all of them are moving the same trend. This is, the value is $42. So if you want to invest $50,000 into First Trust Cybersecurity, all you have to write is the amount. Around 1,000, 1,100 units you can buy. Click, and it's done. You will see your positions. Now you have a ETF which you can track on real-time basis, and you can always book a profit or loss, whatever you like to. So it's very easy to take a trade and then keep tracking on your own. And you can always buy and sell these later on. Now, before I leave and move on from the cybersecurity, although this was the theme, but I think we have discussed well about the cybersecurity bit, unless you have any questions into. Off lately, because markets have fallen down. So on a very short notice, yesterday I got a portfolio done, which I thought I'll kind of include and discuss this into the today's session, because it kind of holds a certain amount of importance, looking how the markets have fallen down today. And we are going to talk about, these are very cheap bargains, if I were to say. Let's see this, because currently the real threat is, people are talking about inflation. Now, when people are talking about inflation, these are the few companies which you can actually look into. And again, these are funds. So I'm not giving you individual stocks. I'm giving you funds which can counter the rising inflation right here. So if you see these kind of ETFs, let me zoom this so you can see it properly. You can take a picture or write it down and then talk to your financial consultants or any one of our experts, and we'll tell you how to take exposure in this. There is a ETF ticker, ETF called iShares TIPS Bond ETF. TIPS, guys, stands for Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. The coupon of these bonds are targeted at looking at the inflation data of the US, and that's how it protects you from the inflation. So consider a fund, a bond fund, which has only those bonds which are whose coupon is in line with the rising inflation, right? So this is one fund. Second is Vanguard Real Estate Index ETF. We all know that real estate is one of the stocks, in real estate are one of the important assets towards inflation, to beat inflation, hedge inflation. So especially if you see the real estate index funds, these are one of the ways that you can have exposure into the real estate sector and without owning the physical real estate. So you can still take exposure into that. And we are talking about REITs. REITs are taxable, so it kind of reduces the operating expenses also on this fund. So it's one of the important advantages. Year till date return is 17.5% as made on 14th of May. Then there is North American Natural Resources ETF. This is a fund which focuses on natural resources industries. There's a Vanguard Value ETF, which has large cap value stocks like Vodafone, Verizon, Coca-Cola, the ones which gives you good dividends. The year till date return is 15%. And then last but not the least, SPDR Gold Trust Fund, which is focusing on those companies which are into physical gold mining, right? So all of them, they have their charts, and these portfolios can be provided to you by your relationship managers. All you have to do is ask them. One more, the recent market dip happened and few of these companies have come down. This portfolio was prepared yesterday, and these are some of those companies. If you see, I'm just going to quickly go through these companies. Osprey Technology, it's a special purpose acquisition company, and I'll tell you what a special purpose acquisition company is. These companies are prepared. They exist only to acquire or help companies which want to get listed into the stock market. So a special purpose acquisition company, what it does, it provides cash to a different company who wants to get listed in stock markets but are not able to get listed due to XYZ reasons. Could be the conventional criteria which they are not able to follow. A SPAC company helps those companies. Goldman Sachs also has a SPAC company. So there are a lot of companies which have their own special purpose acquisition company. Osprey Technology is one of those. And if you see, the yearly high is $17, the low is $9.5, and the price on 14th May is actually $9.9. So it is on its yearly low. You can still check this out. And again, SPAC companies are high risk, high reward companies. So please assess your risk before you get into it. Few more good bargains at the current dip which we have faced. If you see companies like Social Capital, again, it's a SPAC company. Moving on to a different sector, if I were to. Beam Therapeutics, which is a biotech company developing precision genetic medicines through base editing. The lowest is 52-week low is $18. Last price was $71. Highest it has gone is $126. So again, the revenue growth, look at this number, guys. Look at this number. Estimated revenue growth percentage, 8891. So that is something, that's why, again, it's one of the most important stocks. You see the volatility is too high. So again, as I'm telling you that please look into your individual risk appetite as you get into these companies. Zoom, we all know about Zoom. We use Zoom for a lot of reasons. We're expecting Zoom has come down to $300. The lowest it has gone in the year was 149. Highest was 588. So it is at 307. And I think Zoom is here to stay for a longer period of time because no matter how much vaccines we talk about, Zoom now has become a trend and it's going to be. And Zoom Phone already has 10,000 customers. $23 billion addressable market by 2024 is expected. Zoom Rooms are going to come really soon. And company has since launched Zoom Rooms, a virtual marketplace, Zoom apps, and on Zoom. So this is something, again, it's a software, or a hardware as a service, because Zoom expects to disrupt nearly every area of telephone. Yeah, I mean, why not? Telephones were replaced, and now we are looking at hardware as a service, right? They provide disruptive technology. So this is, guys, something. These are few things. Berkeley Lights is a medical equipment manufacturing company, and a lot of their medical equipments are used by a few biggest companies, and that is why this is on the list. It has come down a lot of lately. Then there is Twilio, digital transformation, followed by DermTech, which is a biotech company again. And you can, and then there are ARC funds, which are innovation-based funds. ARC is just like iShares, SPDR. These are fund management companies, and they provide these different funds which are based on innovation, biotechnology. And ARC innovation ETFs actually provide exposure to those companies which are providing disruptive technology or are creating innovation, right? So again, these portfolios will be available to you on request. If you talk to your relationship managers, they will definitely send it to you. We discussed today about cybersecurity, how to invest into it, we need to invest into it. What are the popular ETFs we can look into? How we can buy share baskets on the platform? How you can look into individual shares? Why you look into those individual shares? Talked about CrowdStrike, talked about Zscaler, Okta, Palantir Technology, Cloudflare, all these kind of companies, and followed by a few companies which are the funds which are good for inflation, few companies which are good bargains with the current market dip which has come. If you have any questions on what we have discussed, please go ahead, and we'll definitely try to answer this. I think there are a few questions coming in. Yeah. How can we get the demo account? Demo account is very easy to get. All of you must have been informed by at least one of the relationship managers today. Just give a call back to them and tell them that we have attended this webinar and we need a demo account. And how to use the demo account, if you need, we'll have definitely book a one-on-one session with me, talk to your relationship manager, and I'll explain you bit by bit how to buy and sell, how to prepare a watch list on your platform, and how to see the very basis of the investment before you proceed to your live accounts. Second question, how to start the live account? Live account opening is very easy, just need documentation. In 2 days it will be open. Third, what's the future for cryptocurrencies? Okay, a bit out of the topic, but obviously everybody wants to know future of cryptocurrencies. See, today a very important news came about China, and that was one of the major reasons that why Bitcoin came down. The Chinese officials are taking also action against people who are investing, trading into Bitcoins. Right now, crypto market is down. If you are a crypto enthusiast and you want to take advantage of it, try to buy currencies with a lower denomination, like Cardano. Cardano is not just a cryptocurrency with a much lower price than a Bitcoin. It's hardly $1.3 per coin, but Cardano is more sustainable in the mining. If you remember, Elon Musk said that Tesla is not going to accept Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency because it is not a sustainable cryptocurrency. The mining of Bitcoin takes a lot of coal, which Elon Musk did not like it. But Cardano is more sustainable than Bitcoin. The mining in Cardano is more sustainable as compared to Bitcoin. So we saw Cardano going up that day when Bitcoin was going down. So if you want to take exposure, try to take exposure in cryptos like Ethereums and Cardanos and Dash, for example, rather than jumping into, because Bitcoin is very volatile right now. If you see today, let me show you the chart for Bitcoin just for fun, because this is something which a lot of you would like to see and check. So this is Bitcoin right here on the platform. Now this is, let me show you chart specifically for today. This is what it is as of now. It has come down from 39,000 all the way. Let me increase the size of the text. From 39,000, it has went down to 29,000, and now it is back to 37,000 in one day. It went down by 20% and recovered by 7%. This is what crypto is. So you don't want to be a part of a cryptocurrency or invest any money which is so volatile. So look into this. The spelling of Cardano, it starts with C, Cardano. You can find it on the platform also. Again, guys, I'm just giving you a normal idea. Please, if you have to take any exposure, talk to your financial consultants, and then only check your risk appetite. Cryptos are a very high volatile asset, and you can always. Is there any good news to ease the inflation rate? Inflation as of now. So what has happened? Why the stocks have come down is because there has been a lot of stimulus. First of all, there have been a lot of bond buying also. So we have seen inflation rate going higher because people have a lot of money in their pockets due to this, and that's why the inflation has gone up. The only way to control inflation is increasing the interest rates. So if Federal Reserve decides to increase the interest rates, we might see the financial companies actually getting benefited from it. So I showed you a few funds which you can take to hedge the inflation, or try to invest more towards the financial companies or the banks, US banks basket, which can also get benefited from the higher interest rates or the higher bond yields in the future. So that is that. Inflation is not good. Inflation is not bad. Every economy needs inflation, but they don't need too much of inflation. Otherwise, it dips into the hyperinflation like Venezuela and Zimbabwe and etc. But you don't need zero inflation also, because then there is a deflation like Japan. So you need a balance, and that balance is maintained by central banks by increasing and decreasing the interest rates, which central bank is not doing right now because of the pandemic and the lockdowns which have affected throughout. So markets, when they saw the inflation data, they expected that now central bank has to increase the interest rates, and that's why markets have come down, because high interest rate means expensive borrowing, expensive credit. People will hold on to it. They will not borrow as much as they used to before because now interest rates are high, and that will put the economic activity under stress. And non-farm payroll, the private jobs report in US is also not up to the standard. So we are looking at a situation where labor data is not, jobs are not enough to be generated, and interest rates are expected to go higher. So no job, like less jobs and high interest rates, which means reduced economic activity, and it's a bad thing for the companies or the stocks because revenue will come from people, right? So we can always discuss more about it, but this is the gist of it. Look at Cardano right now. It went down to 1.3 today, 1.1 today, and went to 1.6, recovered already. So if you're looking for cryptos, look into smaller denominations, Cardanos, Ethereums, Dash, like that. Please do not have FOMO. Don't be feared of missing out on the opportunity and just enter into it. Don't be like that. Please understand, there are a lot of clients who bought Bitcoins at $60,000 and today they have lost 50% of their equity. So be smart, be very careful. Don't get carried away by what you see on the charts. Please discuss properly with your financial consultants. That's the way to do it, right? If you have any other questions, I would definitely like to answer that. But I think a lot of you have asked a lot of questions. That's really good. I'm available for a one-on-one session. Please talk to your relationship managers. I'm working on Fridays as well. If you want to come down to the office and discuss, we are more than happy to discuss. Before I leave, a big word of thanks on behalf of my team at Century Financial and myself, and from my family, to all those people who have friends or relatives or who are working in the healthcare industry or in the hospitals, risking their lives day in, day out. I can not even understand that how much risk you are taking at the moment, because we are all so scared of the virus. Even after the vaccines, we are still scared to go out. And I hope that everybody's in good health at the moment, along with the friends and relatives. But if you have any of your acquaintances who are working in the healthcare industry, be thankful to them, and please convey my regards. If there is anyone here right now who's working in the healthcare industry, a big word of thanks from my end, from my family. You're doing a great job, and I hope that we all pass through this pandemic phase, although now it has become a part of our lives, the mask and the sanitizers, but let's hope for the best. So once again, we'll be returning next week with a new topic, with a completely different theme. And for more details on the today's portfolio, and if you want to get it, please talk to your relationship managers, and they will send it to you on the WhatsApp. But please talk to your consultants before you use that. Please understand your risk appetite, and then go for it. My name is Yogesh. Thank you so much for attending this session and being there for the next 1 hour. I see complete 100% attendance here, which is really good. You have listened to me for 1 hour and seen my work. We'll meet again in the office, and thank you so much. You have a great night. Please be in good health, and don't forget to wear your mask. I'm not wearing one right now. I have one right here, but I'm into a enclosed facility. But please wear more mask and do not stop investing. Have a good night. Thank you so much.